Hello! My name is Pei and today I'm gonna show you how to kill all 4 God Wars bosses with ease and of course budget gear. God Wars Dungeon was first released in 2007, which means it is almost 20-year-old content. But being a new player, there really is no old content, only new experiences. Like with all of my videos, I researched the God Wars content a bit and basically just sent it while recording at the same time. The aim is to provide a fresh, first-hand experience to all the newcomers like myself, because I'm aware how off-putting some OSRS content can be. But this is new to me as it is to you, so let's give it a go. In order to access the dungeon, you need to either partially complete Troll Stronghold so you can access Trollheim, or complete a certain amount of combat achievements to get a Gumal's Hilt, which you can then use to teleport to Trollheim. We're gonna cut straight to the chase and start off with the easiest one, Commander Zilyana. We're going to use a ranged setup with an emphasis on range defense. God Wars bosses hit really hard, so you wanna aim for a decent damage output while also trying to max out your defensive stats. The gear we're going to use is worth only 18 mil, and it consists of a Kril's body and legs, dragon crossbow, crystal shield, barrels gloves, ring of shadows, fury amulet, avas, and a Ceradamin head plus Zemi boots, so we don't get aggroed by minions inside the dungeon. We only have a toxic blowpipe switch, which we'll use to finish off Zilyana's minions and heal with the spec. Fill your inventory with some stamina potions, a few Ceradamin brews, some restores, and some hard food. It's important to bring bastion potions because they raise range defense alongside attack, but if you're low on cash, you'll manage with some range pots as well. Bring trolls or don't, it's up to you. Before we navigate to the boss room, I'm going to pretend like we never set foot inside the dungeon before. The God Wars dungeon area has a debuff which basically drains all your stats every few seconds, including run and special energy. This effect can be completely negated by building the Fire of Unseasonal Warmth found southwest of the dungeon entrance, which requires completion of making friends with my arm and 60 construction. These are the materials that you need, so go ahead and do it. To enter Zilyana's encampment, which is located in the eastern part of the dungeon, a rope must be tied to a rock by the waterfall, and another rope must be attached to another rock inside the encampment to allow full access. Once the ropes are attached, they will remain there permanently. Of course, that's not all, and this is mainly the reason why people avoid doing God Wars bosses. Each general requires you to gather 40 of their followers' essence in order to access the boss itself. This means that in order to fight Zilyana, you need to kill 40 Ceradamin minions, which can take a few minutes.
And you can't touch me, you can go to hell, you can suck my
This can be completely negated by using an ecumenical key, which is a drop from all monsters inside the dungeon. So we tied the ropes, killed 40 Ceradamin followers, and now we're finally ready to fight the boss. The first thing you wanna do is to shift click on Starlight, which is Zilyana's melee minion, and swap left click to walk here. Since you'll basically run and gun during the whole encounter, Starlight is going to stack under Zilyana, and this option will make it so you don't accidentally attack Starlight instead of Zilyana. Find an empty world, overheal, use your stamina and bastion pots, pray rigor and mage. Wait for Zilyana to move away, then enter the room. Spawn your troll, attack Zilyana, and start running around the room. So what you wanna do is just run around and attack Zilyana whenever you can. It's important to figure out the attack speed of your weapon so you can do it effectively and not get hit by Zilyana or Starlight. Since this was my first attempt, I got hit a few times, but that's why we brought food. Once Zilyana is down, use your blowpipe to finish off Starlight, then the ranged one, then the lion. Once all of them are dead, heal up, wait for Zilyana to spawn, and just repeat the whole run and gun process again. Don't forget to use your stamina and bastion potion as well. I managed to snag 4 kills on my first ever trip to Commander Zilyana, and I consider it a success. Once you figure out the timings of your attacks, this boss becomes trivial, and of course better gear means faster kills and less damage received. Next one is Kril. This big boy can be done in both melee and range gear, and we're going to cover both. Since Kril is a demon, the best weapon to use is any demon bane weapon that you have, and I used an Arclight. Again, Kril's body and top for mage and range defense, dragon defender, barrels gloves, dragon boots, ring of shadows, a fire cape, fury amulet, Nazi helm, and an unholy blessing to protect from monsters inside the dungeon. Our only switch is the Bandos Godsword, which we use to lower Kril's defense. Bring a lot of hard food, some restores, combat potion, and some source of anti-poison. You can bring a Senfu or an anti-venom, whichever is fine. Be on Archaeus spellbook so you can use use Ward of Arceus, which grants you extra protection against demons. In total, this gear is worth just under 20 mil, which is really nice. Oh yeah, if you're on a Demon Slayer task, you can bring a Slayer helmet or a black mask for some extra damage and accuracy. You probably noticed this weird item in my inventory. This item is called Ceradamin's Light and it costs 25k on Grand Exchange. Buy it and use it. Kril's area is very dark, so you'll either need to bring a light source or use the Ceradamin's Light to completely disperse the darkness. Other than that, once you jump across the ice bridge, which is located north in the dungeon, your prayer will be drained to 0. There's no avoiding it, so keep that in mind. Again, you need to kill 40 Zamorak followers to access the boss, so start killing these little imps as they're the fastest ones to kill. It shouldn't take you more than 2-3 minutes to reach 40 essence, since you can hop between worlds. For this encounter, you want to have menu entry swapper plugin enabled. Under NPC swaps tab, there's an option called shift click walk here. This makes it so that when you shift click under Kril, for example, you'll just walk under instead of attacking. This is crucial because we're going to attack Kril twice and then step under him to avoid receiving extra damage. Overheal, use your anti-venom and combat potion, use Ward of Arceus, pray melee and piety and enter the room. Equip your BGS and spec Kril. Of course, use your BGS to spec, not Arclight. Once you've successfully spec'd, the goal is to attack twice and then step under Kril by shift clicking. You wanna do that for the duration of the whole fight. Hit twice, step under, hit twice, step under. The good thing about stepping under is that you have time to heal up and Kril won't be able to damage you back. Just move inside his tile and you're good. That's the whole encounter. Just hit twice and step under. Whenever you need to heal, just step under him and heal. After Kril's dead, kill the melee minion, switch your protection to ranged or magic, then finish off ranged and mage minions. I managed to get 3 Krils on my first ever Kril trip and I consider that a success. The range method is one of the easiest and probably most profitable God Wars encounter. I managed to get 9 kills on my first range trip to Kril, which later expanded to around 20 kills, which is really good. The trick is to use a Scorching Bow special in combination with Lightbearer, so you can root Kril in place and avoid all of his melee damage, making the fight rather trivial. Bring your tankiest range gear, obviously Scorching Bow and Lightbearer are mandatory. We're also going to use Ancient Spellbook and a Mage Switch so we can auto-cast Blood Barrage. This will be your main source of healing. Fill the rest of your inventory with Bastion Pots, some anti-poison and lots of prayer restores. This gear is slightly more expensive but definitely worthwhile. Okay, so wait for Kril to move away, pre-pot, pray ranged and rigor, then immediately use your Scorching Bow special upon entering the room. Kril will get rooted in place and you'll have 4 free hits before having to reapply the spec. So you're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4 and spec. 1, 2, 3, 4 and spec. You'll repeat this until Kril's dead, then switch to the mage setup, try and stack melee minion with the ranged one, freeze them and then blood barrage to heal back up. If you get really low, just use some of your panic food. Once all minions are dead, move to the southeast corner and get ready to spec Kril when he spawns. This time you'll be able to hit Kril 5 instead of 4 times on the first spec. Remember, this is only for the first spec. Rest of the specs follow the same 4 attack pattern. So it's spec 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and spec. Then 1, 2, 3, 4 and spec. Notice how Kril is exactly 1 tile away from you. That's what you want to achieve. Rest of the encounter is the same. Finish Kril, then stack the minions and blood barrage to heal back up. It's a pretty chill method and probably my favorite God Wars dungeon encounter. The next one is Kriera, and I tried fighting him with 2 different methods, a ranged step under and a ranged tank method. This is the gear I used for both and we wanna put emphasis on ranged defense. So we have a dragon crossbow, crystal shield, Karil's top and legs, armadillo boots to protect against armadillo followers, Barrow's gloves, DT2 ring, Barak's helm, Fury amulet and Avas. The inventory has a blood barrage switch, toxic blowpipe to quickly get 40 follower essence, some bastions, Sarah brews, prayer restores and some hard food. You also need a grapple hook to access the area next to Kriera. This gear is worth just slightly north of 20 mil, but if we leave out the blowpipe it goes under 10 mil, which is really not that expensive. Armadillo area is located in the southern part of the dungeon. As mentioned previously, you'll need a grapple hook to access the area. It's recommended to use an ecumenical key here, since these aviances can hit pretty hard if you're not praying, and if you're praying, you'll definitely burn some of your prayer restores before accessing the boss. Once you got 40 Armadillo KC, we're ready to fight the boss. Overheal, drink your bastion pot, pray ranged and rigor, then enter the room. Now, before we start the fight, I just wanna say that this budget step under method is really not that effective unless you got a Bofa or a T-bow, but I decided to try it and somehow managed to snag 2 kills on my first trip. I wouldn't recommend it because it gets chaotic pretty fast and the dragon crossbow just doesn't pull through. I had to constantly brew under Kree, and then the crossy would miss and miss and miss. Anyhow, if you just want to get your first KC, I guess it's fine. So it works the same as Kril's step under method, only this time you're attacking once with the crossbow and then stepping under Kree. So attack, step under, attack, step under. Only thing you need to worry about is to be in his melee range, so he can't knock you back with a tornado. As long as you're standing next to Kree, you're fine. So just repeat the 1-1 process, and whenever you're low, just wiggle inside Kree's tile and brew up. Once Kreera is dead, stack the melee minion and blood barrage to heal back up. The next method is a bit more convenient, so I recommend giving it a try if you're just starting out. When you're at Kree's range distance, he'll use a tornado attack that pushes you back a few tiles, but as long as you're standing next to a corner, you'll be completely safe. So enter the room, run to the southwest corner and start attacking. That's really all there is to this method, except there's a small catch. As long as you're attacking Kree, he'll use his tornado attack, but as soon as you stop, and this includes healing or brewing up, he'll fly towards you and try to melee you. So whenever you heal or prayer pot, just make sure to immediately click back on Kree so he doesn't fly towards you. Once Kree is dead, again stack the minions and blood barrage to heal back up. I managed to secure 2 kills with this range tag setup, but your kill count ultimately comes down to the mercy of the dragon crossbow gods. Last but not the least is General Graardor. This fucker can be fought with both melee and ranged, although I found the range method to be more efficient, but not necessarily more fun. This melee budget setup is dirt cheap, and since we're going to pray melee throughout the whole encounter, the focus is once again on range defense. I use the War Blessing to protect against minions next to the boss room. Fill your inventory with a few restores, a combat potion, bone knife for the pretend pour effect, and lots of hard food. You're going to need it. To access Bandos area, you need a hammer and 40 Bandos essence, which you'll gather by killing these low level goblins in the center of the dungeon. Don't worry about bringing a hammer, since these goblins have a high chance of dropping them. Once you get 40 KC, just bang the northwestern door with a hammer and enter the area. Pray melee and piety, then enter the boss room. Immediately use your bone dagger spec to drain his defense, then start the attack sequence by attacking twice, then stepping under him. So attack, attack, step under, attack, attack, step under. Bandos hits hard, and that's no exaggeration. Get ready to use a lot of heals because this guy is tough. Once Bandos is dead, and if you've saved at least half of your food, you can kill the rest of his minions and try to get another KC. But more often, especially in budget gear like this, 1 kill is all you'll get. You can also bring a mage switch and blood barrage to heal back up, just like in any other God Wars encounter. Afterwards, I wanted to invest a bit more money into better gear and tried to push for a few extra KC, just to see how much of a difference it made compared to the budget setup. Suffice to say, Bandos still hit really hard, but the extra defense bonuses really went through in terms of chip damage from his minions. So in this baller gear, I managed to snag 5 KC in a row, so if you have some extra cash, this is the way. The range method got me 8 KC in a single trip, and the gear that I used is as follows. A little bit of everything slapped together worth around 26 mil, a mage switch for blood barrage and a toxic blowpipe to kill the goblins inside the dungeon, some range and prayer pots, a few stamina potions, and some hard food. So pray melee and rigor, then enter the room. You wanna pray melee at first because you'll need to run through Bandos and soak one of his melee attacks in order to start the correct running sequence. You're going to pray range during the rest of the encounter. So basically just run around the room and attack Bandos on every outer marked tile of the room. Once you get the gist of it, it becomes pretty trivial. Mistakes will happen, so don't worry about it. If he gets too close, just pray melee. The most important part is do not forget to use your stamina potion. Once he's down, stack the minions and blood barrage to heal back up. For the next skill, position yourself on the starting tile and wait for Bandos to spawn, then immediately run towards the shoot tile and attack him. The skip first rotation tile obviously means that you need to skip attacking Bandos on that tile once he spawns. You can start attacking on that tile only after one full rotation is done. Continue kiting and damaging Bandos until he's dead. As mentioned previously, I managed to snag 8 kills on my first ever ranged trip to Bandos, and I imagine it only gets better with more gear upgrades, so just slap the best ranged gear you have and give it a go. God Wars Dungeon is iconic, but it's also one of the most punishing pieces of content in the game. Not because the bosses are impossible, but because the path to them is. When every attempt costs supplies, prayer and 30 minutes of your time, the bosses don't need to be hard, they just need to exist. And when the boss inevitably slaps you anyway, you don't just lose the kill, you lose another chunk of your life retracing that same path. That's not challenge, that's punishment. If God Wars isn't your thing, don't worry. I've covered a lot of other OSRS guides on the channel, including much easier content that won't drain your prayer and your will to live. So feel free to check those out, and I'll catch you next time.